Hello, good morning, good afternoon, or even good evening, and welcome to Glasgow Rangers Nation with me, your host, Owen, the channel that brings you your team every single day. Sorry, guys, I've got a shirt hung there, but my thing on the wall, I'm not sure what it's called. It's called a thingy. Is broken. Anyway, welcome to Glasgow Rangers Nation. Welcome to the channel that brings you your team every single day. So the managerial hunt, I don't know. You know what? It seems to be that rumor, counter rumor, speculation, counter speculation, and more stuff. So Clement is flying into Glasgow tomorrow. No, Clement is not flying into Glasgow tomorrow. Apparently, Clement is set to be offered a 4-year deal tomorrow. Apparently, he's not set to be offered a 4-year deal tomorrow. Who do you believe? I'll tell you one thing, until I actually hear an announcement from the club, until I actually hear James Bisgrove or John Bennett or whoever announce our new manager, I think it's fairly safe to say we can kind of just go with what we think and not what we know. We can kind of give our opinions, but not what is actually going to happen. Because I'll tell you the truth, there's nobody realistically knows what is going to happen. Nobody realistically knows who the next manager is going to be, apart from James Bisgrove, John Bennett, and the rest of the Rangers board. Yes, Philippe Clement does seem to be moving up in the betting, and apparently the betting market is tonight suspended on the next Rangers boss, because it does seem that Clement is the man that he's going to be appointed according to the betting market. But then again, let's face it, the betting market had John Eustace as favourite at one point and Frank Lampard as favourite at one point. It does, however, seem to be a two-way battle at this moment in time between Kevin Muscat and Philippe Clement. And I'm sure, out there, you've all got your Thomas Buffel making an appearance. He will be back. Keep watching. Yeah, so, I'm sure you've all got your favourites. I'm sure you've all got the man that you want. I'm sure you've all got an idea about which player you would like to see, or which manager, you would like to see come through the door, up those marble steps, and be announced as the new Rangers manager. And I think we can all agree the sooner it's done, the better. Because let's face it, we're in international break, unfortunately. And it gives you the opportunity for this new manager to come in, to get a sort of small assessment on the playing staff, to look at which players that he wants, which players that he thinks are up to the task, and which players that he thinks can take this club forward. I mean, let's face it, Nico Raskin was talking today about the fact that he thinks this team are good enough to continue to challenge and are good enough to overhaul Celtic. I mean, fair play to the lad. I mean, if he thinks that, great. However, there is a bit of a backlash on social media with some fans saying they wish our players would shut up. Then there is an element of that. But you know what? In the modern football era, in the modern football social media world, you're always going to get Instagram tweets and X's or whatever they're called from players. Players are always going to talk. Players love to talk. Players love to say things, and they love to try and say things that they think the fans want to hear, but sometimes that can backfire on them. Maybe with some fans, what Raskin said did backfire. I don't know, Who knows? But look, until this man actually makes an announcement as to who the next manager is, we're kind of stuck in a kind of limbo world where we've kind of got to speculate, and we've got to kind of look at it in terms of what does this club need. Now, look, I'll be absolutely honest with you. You look at Philippe Clement, you look at Kevin Muscat, and both of these men apparently are more coaches than managers. They're more head coaches than manager. They're more the kind that want to work with the players, that want to coach the players, that want to do all the, the football side of things. They don't want to do the buying players, the negotiating contracts, the signing of players. Side of stuff. That's not what they want. And you certainly look, the clubs they've worked at, in terms of the Belgian league system with Club Bruges, with Genk, with Monaco, and you go out to Yokohama Marinos and the A League and Melbourne Victory. Muscat and Clement are used to working under a sporting director, someone who is the man who brings in the players, the man who, signs the players, negotiates the contracts, does all that side of things, and leaves hit them clear to just coach the team, which is what they want. And look, I think at the end of the day, when you've got a football man like Clement or a football man like Muscat, allowing them to go and actually coach the team is the best option for me. If you cloud the waters and muddy the waters, do you get another Michael Beale type situation where they're trying to do absolutely everything and doing nothing very well? Jack of all trades, master of none. Now, for me, one of the things we desperately need to do, and I think this has got to be done sooner rather than later, is appoint a sporting director. Look, you look at, and I know some Rangers fans don't want a sporting director, and that's fine if that's your opinion. But let me tell you, this. If you look at all the big clubs around Europe, Real Madrid, FC Barcelona, Paris Saint-Germain, Bayern Munich, you go then to Ajax, to Feyenoord, to PSV Eindhoven. You come then to Portugal with with FC Porto, with Sporting Lisbon, with Benfica. You cross the channel and you come to Manchester United, Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, Tottenham, Manchester City. All those teams have a sporting director, have someone who is above the manager, who is that kind of unifying force that brings together this scouting network, the academy system, the men's first team, brings them all together under one global umbrella and gets them working together. Someone who takes off a lot of the pressure from the manager, who is, a critical friend for the manager as well. It's my firm belief that as a club, we need to get a sporting director. We need to move on with that process. We need to put into place someone who come January is going to be there helping and supporting with the buying of players, that any players that we bring in, with the shipping out of players. I mean, you look at players who are out of contract at the end of this season, Lundstrom, Barisic, Roof. Important decisions to be made there. And at the end of the day, what I want to see is whoever the new manager is, whether it be Philippe Clement, whether it be Kevin Muscat, whether it be someone we haven't even mentioned yet, they're concentrating on just doing the thing that we want them to do, which is coach the team to win on the field, coach the team to play attractive, attacking football on the field and win games and win silverware. That's what we expect as a fan base, and that's what we want. For me, if you look at it, these three are the outstanding candidates. Davy Weir, who is currently the loans manager at Brighton. Paul Mitchell, who was formerly at Monaco, worked with Philippe Clement. Now, there is rumours around Paul Mitchell going to Manchester United if Ineos, that's Sir Jim Ratcliffe's company, get involved with Manchester United. Still, at this moment in time, that hasn't been done. Craig Moore, the former Rangers man, has been linked to the club as well. These three, for me, are the leading candidates. You've got guys who've got great football knowledge there. Davy Weir, who's done a fantastic job at Brighton, supporting that model there, and supporting De Zerbi there, and bringing some absolutely amazing players to that club. A club that uses the trading model, a club that's had great success with the trading model. Paul Mitchell, who's got a vast European experience, has worked with the Red Bull clubs, has worked with Monaco, it has great experience and contacts on the continent. And Craig Moore, who's got great contacts in the Far East and in Australasia. Another one who could be a possible. I think Moore's probably more a candidate, perhaps, if Muscat comes in. But for me, we need to get a sporting director in place. We need to get someone who is overarching over everything: the B team, the A team, the under 21s team, the academy process, everything. That they are there overarching that process and are a beacon of consistency. Someone who can actually do the job. Not another Ross Wilson type candidate, but these three, I think, are a lot higher standard and a lot higher ability certainly than Ross Wilson, and certainly something we do need to bring in. The decision for me that Bisgrove and Bennett so need to make to move this club forward on the field and to get this club to move into the 21st century in terms of playing staff, in terms of playing on the pitch on Saturday, Wednesday, Thursday, Sunday, whenever it is we actually play. Now, your debate will rage until somebody is announced as Rangers manager. Who will be the new manager? Now, look, this moment in time, I couldn't tell you. Realistically, it seems like Clement is being very heavily talked up by a lot of insiders, by a lot of reporters, by a lot of journos. Apart from Sam Matterface on Talk Sport today, who spoke the biggest load of crap I have ever heard in my entire life about Frank Lampard and why he should be the Rangers manager and not Clement. At the end of the day, it is such a vital appointment that we are making. It's one that we cannot afford to get wrong. Look, guys, I don't want to be sat here in 12 months or 10 months or whatever it is, having this exact same conversation with you about who our next manager is going to be and what went wrong under the previous regime. I want to see this club moving forward. I want to see this club getting back to where it should be as the biggest club in Scotland and competing on the continent and making a fist of playing in the Champions League. Now, for me, if it was down to me, and look, it's not down to me, you may say, thank God it's not down to you, Owen, you're a nutcase. I would go with Clement. I just look at his track record. Now, nothing against Kevin Muscat. I'm sure, He has a teams that play very exciting, attractive, attacking football, that play a very aggressive style, that play a very much in-your-face style, that would pretty much, I think, dominate Scottish football, but I think would let us down in Europe. He's very similar to Postecoglou. You've seen how badly Postecoglou's teams failed in Europe when he was at Celtic. For me, Rangers need to not only have a man who is going to come in and do a job in Scotland and win trophies in Scotland and win the league in Scotland, is also going to be a team that gets Rangers back on the European stage. The key to this club being back to where it used to be is doing well in Europe, is succeeding in Europe, because of the fact that, number one, it brings in you massive revenue that helps you to develop your club, which is vital for Rangers. And number two, it helps to attract those top level players that you need to really kick on and develop as a club. Clermont, for me, has a style, has a playing ability, the playing style that far more suits, not only Scotland, but suits European football as well. You look at the headlines of what a Philippe Clement team would do. Now, apparently he is very flexible with his formations. He favours 4-2-3-1, 4-3-3, but he's well willing to change those formations and adapt to whoever he's facing. Something I think that would do us well in Europe. What works well in the Scottish Premier League will not necessarily work well in Europe, because it is an extra level of competition, which we know. The level of competition in Europe is so much higher than it is in Scotland. Let's have a little look at those headlines before we talk a little bit more about specifics to do with Philippe Clement. That if he was to be appointed our manager, what would he bring? He brings a high press. He likes to play out from the back. Now, this is something that really excites me. As a fan, is that he likes to give young players an opportunity. He likes to let young players come through and develop. We saw that at Monaco. We saw that at Bruges. And in that same way, he is not afraid to take difficult decisions. He's not afraid to drop players who need to be dropped. And that is something that has been lacking from Rangers managers over the last couple of years. Players on the field, and I'm sure we know who they are. I'm not going to talk about them by name, because I'll just end up with more trolls on here slagging me off because I'm slagging off their love child. There's players on this team that are underperforming week in, week out, and seem to get away with it week in, week out, and are guaranteed a spot starting on this team, no matter how awful they are in games. But Clement is not afraid to take those decisions. He's not afraid to drop those types of players. And like I said, he gives young players an opportunity. He plays an attractive attacking style of football, which is, what we want as Rangers fans. What we want to see. He's formation flexible. He's not afraid to change his formation, change the shape to suit what he's playing, or to be able to overcome what he's playing, which is something, as a manager, you need to do. And that's what the best managers around Europe do. They change, they flex, they move. He's got a trophy track record as well. He's won leagues, he's won cups. He has a track record of winning. He took Genk, after a poor season, and got them to win the league. He got back-to-back Belgian league titles with Bruges. He is a manager who has a track record of winning league titles. What else? He plays up-tempo attacking football, gets lots of players into the box, scores lots of goals. And it's something that, that we have been lacking, isn't it, over the last few seasons? We've really been lacking that ability to put the ball in the back of the net. I mean, when was the last time Rangers really took a team and put the boot in and finished them off properly? Something hopefully that a Clement Rangers would do. History developing and playing young players, which I've mentioned already. A real winner's mentality as a player and manager, which causes him to be animated on the sideline. I mean, he is a winner. He wants to win. He wants to do well. He gets animated on the sideline. I'm sure, like me, you're sick of seeing our managers, Michael Beale, for instance, stand there with his hands in his pockets on the sideline with no emotion whatsoever. If you look across as a player and you see your manager stood there, with an expressionless face, his hands in his pockets, what message is that sending to you? For me, Clement has that ability to do that. But not only that, he has the ability to be a good guy, to be a nice guy, to get players to feel welcome, to get players to feel as part of the team. He's got a lot of his ex-players really loved him as a coach. but he's also got that hard edge as well that's not afraid to give out bollockings when they're needed. He's turned decent teams into title-winning teams. Genk, for example, he's turned decent players into good players and young players into big stars. And, if you look at Rangers, it's certainly something we need to do. We've got players who perhaps aren't achieving what they are capable of achieving. And hopefully Clement can take them on and do that. We've got good young players as well here that haven't to this point had an opportunity. Zach Lovelace started to get one on Sunday until he got injured. Ross McCausland, Alex Lowry, what's he called? Adam Devine, not Zach Devine. Zach Devine, Adam Devine, Leon King, Cole McKinnon. These young players that are coming through. Shaka Thompson, players that he hopefully will give the opportunity to really succeed and develop here at the club. Something that hasn't happened over the last few seasons, and I'm optimistic that he can do that he can take this team on. For me, like I say, Clement is the man that I want. If it's Muscat, I'll be happy with that too. Muscat is an ex-Rangers man. He plays attractive, aggressive football. He plays attacking football, and I think will bring us success in Scotland. You've only got to look at how Postecoglou's teams succeeded, and he seems to be a disciple of Ange, playing very similar Ange ball. But look, this appointment, no matter what you may think of these guys that are on offer, is a vital appointment. Now, former Rangers star Thomas Buffel talked about Philippe Clement and sang the praises of Philippe Clement, really rating him as a coach and talking about how good he is as a coach. So a strong recommendation from a former Rangers man. Now, one of the things you have to do as Rangers manager is handle the pressure. And, Ronnie Delia, I know he's an ex-Celtic manager and he's a knob for that, but he said in an interview once that if you're going to be a manager in Glasgow, you've got to deal with the pressure, because you've got to deal with the fact that 50% of the city can love you and 50% of the city can hate you. And, that's something you've got to deal with. And Clement has dealt with something similar. Bruges are a big club. There's a lot of pressure on them in Belgium, not the same as Rangers, I know, but they're under pressure in Belgium, and their fans expect from them, and their fans expect you to deliver. And that's something that he has had to undergo and has succeeded with. So, he certainly had that track record. Muscat is another one who understands that. He's an ex-Rangers player. He understands what it is to be a Rangers man. He understands the expectation of the fan base. He understands how the fan base works. So these are two strong candidates. Look, I'd love to know who is your favourite candidate, who you want. I've tried to give you sort of some more background on Philippe Clement to give you a bit more insight to how his playing style is. I think, we know a bit more about Muscat because a lot more has been talked of him than Philippe Clement, who's kind of been a latecomer to this party. But for me, it's a decision that I think hopefully will be taken sooner rather than later. Now, I'm hearing by Thursday a decision should be taken. I'm hoping that is the case. At the end of the day, this is a very important decision for this board to make. And for me, it's one they've got to get right now. Well, guys, let me know what you think. Obviously, if you've enjoyed the content, please hit the sub, ring the notification bell. If you haven't, look, there we go. It's a free world. As always, guys, two things I need you to do for me on the way out. Number one is smash the like, and number two is to remember always we are the people.